Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona here with Mike Beer, coming to you from Pimlico to talk about some of the undercard races on Preakness Saturday. Before we get into the handicapping of the fourth race on the card, the Maryland Sprint, do get your past performances set for this Preakness card on Saturday. Peruse all of the handicapping plans that we've got at shop.drf.com to get your past performances, handicap with Classic Formulator, all of the options available for this Preakness card, as well as betting strategies. I'll be writing those for Saturday, so you can get my picks and how I'm going to play these races on Saturday by purchasing those betting strategies with your past performances. Well, Mike, the first stakes race on this Preakness Saturday card is the Grade 3 Maryland Sprint. 7 runners signed on, and there is no shortage of speed in this field.
It seems like they're going to run it at a fast pace, and I guess we'll find out how it affects number 6 Booth in this race, who fastest on the way in, David. It seems like he's finally starting to get really good, and if he runs his top race, this field might have a really hard time beating him, but they could really push this horse early in this spot.
Yeah, Steve Asmussen is no stranger to having top sprinters in this division. We'll see if Booth can confirm the form that he put forth at Oaklawn this winter with this Grade 3 race here. Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector to see where Booth might be placed in the early stages of this race. And we mentioned there being a lot of speed in this race, Mike. Booth is depicted as the fastest early, but it feels like it's going to be pretty contentious on the front end.
Yeah, listen, I won't be surprised when he's sending out of there and he outruns these horses to the lead. But if that's going to happen, he's going to have to go fast to get there. The horse right to his inside, Concrete Glory's got a lot of speed. The horse right to his outside, Epic Ride, he's got a lot of speed. It just feels like no matter what happens in here, they're going to be going quick.
Yeah, I count 5 of the 7 runners that do their best running when they're up contesting the pace. So that could be a difficult situation for the number 6 Booth. Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1, SS Sinatra. He is one of those horses that does want to be forwardly placed, and breaking from the rail kind of forces the hand. They've got to go with him and see if he's fast enough to stick with some of those faster rivals to his outside. Mike, he's been in good form. He's really gritty. He's a fighter. He's just stepping way up in class.
Bad news for this horse that this is the spot that they elected to step him up and try a stakes race with. He is in good form right now, but he's got tons of speed to his outside, and those horses that all contain that speed, they're better than he is.
The number 2, Prince of Jericho, has been a stalwart in these sprint stakes races in Maryland for a while now for trainer Brittany Russell. You know what you're going to get from him, Mike. He's pretty consistent, generally runs his race. He's turning back to the 6 furlongs here after getting a little tired last time, going the 7 over a muddy track in the General George. Has had a layoff since that race, a pretty spotty work tab since then too, so I wonder a little bit about his condition coming back for this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because he is going to need to show up and just run his absolute A race too if he's going to beat these horses. He just sort of is what he is, David. I mean, he's pretty good. I do respect the fact that he looks like a horse who's a little bit more tactical, so they're going to outrun him early in here. He might fall into a really good trip in this race. I wasn't convinced he was going to be able to take advantage.
Yeah, I worry that what happened in last year's Maryland Sprint is going to happen again, where he just got totally outrun in the early stages and couldn't make up the ground going 6 furlongs. The number 3 is Celtic Contender, a horse that has been in pretty good form lately, and he's a 4-year-old, so he still has room for upside coming into this season, and he just keeps gradually improving his speed figures. He actually finished ahead of Prince of Jericho in that General George. That was 2 starts back in his past performances. And Mike, I know he finished last of 3 last time in a short field at Colonial Downs, but he was beaten by a pretty good horse in Bookham Dano.
Just in too tough in that 3-horse field last time. He ran fine in there, but he's never going to beat those horses. He's an interesting horse in here because he's another one who's in good form. I think there is room to improve. He's a very tactical kind of horse too. I think the right trip is coming for him. Very few 6 furlong races too for this horse, David. There's a bunch of 7 furlong sprints, but I think 6 is going to hit this horse perfectly in here. Good trip coming.
I noted the same thing, and he is a horse that can be comfortable stalking just off the pace, but you can't say about a lot of the horses that want to be forward in here. The number 4, 90% Maddie, hasn't done much winning lately. You've got to go all the way back to the end of 2023 to go to his last victory. That was 12 starts ago in his past performances, and he kind of went off form for a lot of 2024, Mike. They put him away for a little while, brought him back in a race just 12 days ago at Parks, and I thought it was at least a good prep race because they didn't go that quickly up front, and he really was finishing at the end on his left lead like he always is. He just is a horse that never changes leads. But I always take note when trainer Butch Reed ships out of Parks because it seems like he has inordinate success doing that wherever he goes.
Yeah, no, that's very true. This is a horse who he feels like he fits the race maybe better than anybody else too, because he's going to be sort of sitting back off this pace, hoping they go fast in front of him, and he will come running at the end of this race. I didn't know what to do with him, David, because I do like the way that he fits in here. I also feel like the races that would get me interested in him, like particularly those races in New York last year, I'm just not convinced they're as good as they look on paper.
He definitely has to get back to some form going back to 2 seasons ago, but he is the one true closer in a race loaded with speed. The number 5, Concrete Glory, he's not going to be coming from off the pace. He's going to try to get to the front end. That's the way that he does his best running. And Mike, this is a horse that definitely knows how to win races. He's 15 for 35 lifetime, has done a lot of winning since Saffie Joseph claimed him for just $6,250 about 2 seasons ago. We'll take a look at his most recent start in the Gulfstream Park Sprint, where he led, got to mid-stretch with a big lead, but hung on his left lead all the way down to the wire, was drifting a little bit, and just couldn't quite see out the 6 furlongs. Now he's stepping up maybe against a tougher field.
I kind of feel that way too. I mean, I don't like that loss last time for him, and I do think it's going to be even harder for him to win this race because if nothing else, he is not going to be loose on the lead in here. They're going to make this horse go fast. He's got figures, he's got speed. Saffie Joseph is always dangerous. I don't like this horse in here.
And we'll have to see if the horse right to his outside, the number 6 Booth, is going to be fast enough to outrun Concrete Glory to the front end. Because when you look at Booth's past performances, Mike, he has done all of his best running when he gets clear on the lead. I think he's 5 for 5 going gate to wire, and 1 for 5 when he doesn't make the front end. So you really want this horse to be in front early, and he's going to need a sharp break to do so. We'll take a look at his most recent start in the Count Fleet, where he did get contested for the front end. He battled really hard, put away his pace rival, and was able to hold off the closers, but he was 2 to 5 in that spot, looking like he laid over the field on paper, and he still had to work so hard for that victory.
I know. I don't like that about him either. I did want to give him at least a little credit. He ran those 2 really fast races, 2 and 3 back, where he's just absolutely loose, unchallenged. And, you know, personally, David, I wasn't sold on him even after I saw the figures. I gave him a little bit more credit for the win last time because at least they made him race for it, and he was up for it. He put his main challenger away. He held on at the end. He's obviously a bit of a standout in this race off of his last 3 races. Can he reproduce it, though, if he's under pressure again?
The number 7, Epic Ride, is one of the tougher calls in this race, Mike, because he's got some big speed figures, but on synthetic recently. And he is a horse that started off his career on the synth, did transition to dirt when they tried the Kentucky Derby last year. Obviously, that didn't work out, but he ran a nice speed figure in the Perryville when he came back to sprinting last fall. Since then, he's been a little bit up and down, has run his better figures on the synth, but he was in a tough pace last time when they went back to dirt.
I'm not gonna hold that last race against him. That was a really fast pace, and he sort of paid the price there. He also wasn't good enough in there, but he paid the price on the pace in there. I agree with you. I think he's the toughest call on the race. You know, so far he's 0 for 5 on dirt, but he's actually run well in the sprints. It's not like he didn't run well in those races, but he's another horse, David, who all of his wins are not only on synthetic, they're all when he's on the lead in the race, and he's not making the lead in here.
He's not going to make the lead, but at least he's drawn outside, and Flavian Pratt, his jockey that's taking over, has a knack for putting horses in the right spots relative to pace. Mike, let's go to our picks for this race, and you're going to land on the number 3, Celtic Contender.
I've been waiting to bet against Booth for a while. I got a chance to do it on Saturday. We'll see if we can beat that horse. I think he's going to be a short price. I thought the longer I looked at it, David, the more I just felt like Celtic Contender. He's got the tactical speed. He'll be in the right spot here if they race in front of him. We'll see if he's good enough.
Yeah, I gave him a long look, as you can see from my picks. I'm a little against Booth in this spot. I'm skeptical he's going to work out the trip that he needs. I left him out in this race. I think he's going to be bad value. I put the number 4, 90% Maddie on top. He's got to figure out how to win races again, but I do think he's going to get the right kind of trip coming from off the pace, and I do believe he can move forward, having that prep under his belt from last time out. So I'm going with the number 4, 90% Maddie. Mike's got the number 3, Celtic Contender on top in the Grade 3 Maryland Sprint, race 4 on Saturday at Pimlico. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.